All right, everyone, quick question. What do water, rice, and advice all have in common? You can't count them. You can drink water, eat rice, ignore advice, but you can't say one water, two waters, or three advices. That's right, today we're talking about one of the most confusing things in English. Countable and uncountable nouns. Don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly when to say many, much, a few, a little, and you'll never say two breads again. So, what are countable nouns? So, countable nouns are easy. They're things you can count one by one. For example, one book, two books, three books. If you can say 1, 2, 3, it's countable. Simple. Let's look at some examples of countable nouns. Apple, car, chair, cat, student, idea. These nouns have a singular and a plural form. Singular, one apple. Plural, two apples. And we can use a or an. A car, an orange, a house, an elephant. Remember, a or an means one. And please don't say an car. That's like saying I eat an banana. No, just no. Remember that if the noun starts with a consonant, we use a in front. If a word starts with a vowel or a vowel sound, we use an. A car, a chair, a person, an hour, an apple, an orange. See? So what are uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns, also called mass nouns, are things we cannot count individually. They are usually substances, like things we can measure or weigh, like water, milk, rice, sugar, oxygen, abstract ideas, information, advice, knowledge, love, and collective categories like furniture, luggage, equipment, and traffic. So these nouns do not have a plural form. They cannot be used with a or an, and they will only take singular verbs like is or was. So a common mistake is I have many informations. It should be I have a lot of information. Another mistake, can I have two waters? Can I have two bottles of water? Now, uncountable nouns. These are things you can't count individually. Try to count water. One water, two water, three. Nope, you can't. Especially as you can't see the molecules of water. It's kind of like sugar. Technically, you can count the grains of sugar, but I mean, who has time for that, right? I'll take 200 grains of sugar in my tea, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Like, by the time you finish counting, your tea is already cold. So these are nouns that are seen as a whole or mass, and there are no plural forms. So you can't make them plural, and you can't use a or an. So some examples of some uncountable nouns are water, rice, bread, money, advice, information, furniture, sugar, milk, traffic. So instead of saying two waters, you say two bottles of water, a cup of coffee, a piece of advice. That's how you count them, by using containers or units. So how to tell the difference? Okay, repeat after me. If I can count it, it's countable. Good. Now ask yourself 3 questions. Can I put a number before it? 1 apple, 2 apples. Yes. Can I make it plural? Apple, apples. Yes. Can I use a or an apple? Yes. If you said yes, it's countable. If not, it's uncountable. You can't say 1 rice, 2 advices, 3 breads. This is incorrect. So here's the trick. Singular countable is. Plural countable are. Uncountable always is. Let's look at some examples. There is an apple on the table. There are 2 apples on the table. There is some rice in the bowl. Even if there's a lot of rice, we still use is. The rice is delicious, not the rice are delicious. Remember, uncountable nouns always act like singular nouns. So, quantifiers. How much, how many, etc. Here's where everyone panics. Do I say much or many? A few or a little? Help! Relax, it's not that bad. Okay, so let's break it down. Quantifier many is used with countable nouns. For example, how many apples do you have? The quantifier much is used with uncountable nouns. For example, how much water do you drink? The quantifier a few is used with countable nouns. For example, I have a few friends in Paris. The quantifier a little is used with uncountable nouns. For example, I have a little time before work. A lot of or lots of can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. For example, I have a lot of books. I have a lot of money. Some or any can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns too. For example, do you have any rice? I bought some apples. If you forget, just remember this. Countable, many, a few. Uncountable, much, a little. Both, a lot of, some, and any. Sometimes we want to count the amount of something uncountable. So we use containers or units. For example, a cup of tea, a bottle of water, a piece of bread, a slice of cheese, a bit of luck, a piece of advice. That way we can count the unit, not the substance. So don't say 2 coffees unless you mean 2 cups of coffee. Although in casual English people do say 2 coffees at cafes, but that's shorthand for 2 cups of coffee, not 2 coffee beans. That's really not a lot of coffee. So how much versus how many? This is super easy. How many is used with countable. How much is used with uncountable. So, for example, how many books do you read each month? How much time do you spend on your phone? And just for fun, how many money do you have? No. How much money do you have? If you ask how many money, you sound like you're trying to buy a planet. Okay, so let's go through some very typical learner mistakes. I'll give you the incorrect answer and then the correct version. I need some advices. I need some advice. She gave me a good information. She gave me some good information. 2 breads, please. 2 loaves of bread, please. The news are interesting. The news is interesting. Yeah, news looks plural, but it's uncountable. English, right? All right, practice time. Let's test you. I'll give you the sentence and you choose the correct word to fill in the blank. There, some milk in the fridge. There is some milk in the fridge. How? Students are in your class. How many students are in your class? I only have friends here. I only have a few friends here. I have time before lunch. I have a little time before lunch. There, a lot of people at the party. There are a lot of people at the party. See, you nailed it. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Countable nouns, they are things that you can count. Things that we can use a or an, and they have plural forms. It uses many, a few, and how many. Uncountable nouns are things you can't count. There's no plural, we can't use a or an with it. It uses much, a little, and how much, and it always takes the singular verbs. and both can use some, any, a lot of, or lots of. So the next time you say, I have a lot of homeworks, stop, breathe, and remember, homework is uncountable. You can have a lot of homework, but never homeworks. If this lesson helped clear up your confusion, give it a like and subscribe for more English lessons that actually make sense. Because, well, English often doesn't make sense. And I'll see you next time.